Hi, I'm Tim Mabry, a student with the College of Business who will be graduating soon. Today is an amazing day, as I will be finishing my internship with the Instructional Design Media Services at the University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College. This is my third and final show out of the 3 shows I will be doing. And today, I'm here with photographer and video producer Mike Thompson, Director of Instructional Design and Media Services. Mr. Thompson has been doing this since 1994. Fun fact, I was actually 1 year old at that time period. Mr. Mike Thompson, it's a pleasure having you.
Thanks.
All right, let's jump on board with this. How you doing?
I have been doing video longer and photos longer. 94 was when I started my business, VideoVentures Imaging. So that's when that started. It's not, I mean, it's like when I, started charging.
Oh.
And I've been doing video for, TV stations and different things like that before.
Yeah. Oh, that's a misprint.
Actually got my start in the military at American Forces Network, which is great organization. And, I think the best school in the world for TV is the Army.
Army. Would you say that's your starting point?
Yeah, before that I was in high school. So right out of high school, I was 17 when I enlisted.
17, wow. Right,
and spent 5 years in the military and went to school in Denver, Colorado. Got stationed at Lowry Air Force Base for schooling, and that's in Denver. I'm just paying attention to the guys behind the scene doing stuff, because I do both. Anyway, went to Washington, D.C., and worked on nurse call systems and networking and stuff at Walter Reed Medical Center. And then in 84, was sent to Germany to work with the American Forces Network.
Cool.
So worked at the station in Frankfurt for several months, and then was sent to Bremerhaven on the North Sea coast and spent the rest of the time up there.
Oh, wow.
And I was an engineer initially. Well, that was my job title, was an engineer, which we fix and repair and make sure everything works. And then I cross-trained into production.
Oh.
Because I wanted to, I worked on the stuff and I wanted to use it.
Yeah. Cool.
I worked on the editors and I was like, well, I want to edit some video. So I think we've got some pictures of that. So me in the military. And that's when I was running master control. This is,
cool.
Like this is where you send the signal to the transmitter. You're playing tapes, you're playing stuff off the satellite, IDs and commercials, which we didn't have commercials, we only had PSAs.
Oh, wow.
Like re-enlist, don't drink and drive. And this is where I was editing video. It's a 3/4 inch U-matic BVU 800 Sony system.
Oh, wow.
And this is in the field shooting video. I'm actually acting as an engineer, and I'm not in the shot. So we've got a reporter and a videographer there, and that camera is not the recording device. There's also a very large tape recorder sitting on the ground, and so I was there to make sure all this stuff worked.
No, that's cool.
And it was cool because I made the thing powered with a car battery, just because of the cold temperatures and working outside all day long. That was a cool trip.
Yeah.
All right, so when I was in high school, this was my first camera.
Wow.
It's like a 1950s Bosley. It was a camera that my dad won in a poker game back when he was in the military.
Oh, wow.
So it was 35 millimeter and everything was totally manual. And this was my uncle's camera that I inherited. It's a twin lens reflex Rolly 120. And that's a professional camera.
How much is that worth now? Is it worth over hundreds of thousands?
800 or 900.
800, okay.
without the extra things. And then when I was in the military, I had enough money that I bought my first SLR camera. This is my first SLR, an OM1, which I used for, I don't know, 10, 20 years.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So that was a very good camera.
Oh, wow. What's the best part of your job? Like, what do you like about your photography, your media services?
Well, the job here at the college and a lot of the other jobs I've had, the best part is just the variety. That was one of the things I didn't like about running Master Control, is you go into work every day and you do the same thing over and over and over.
Oh.
And in this job, then I can, you know, some days I'm a photographer, sometimes I'm a videographer, sometimes I'm installing equipment or helping people learn how to use the equipment, you know, effectively in the classroom. And with the just video in general, with video production, it's learning about all the subjects. I've done videos for all kinds of stuff. Like today, there was a shelter-in-place warning or thing across the river at a chemical plant. There was some sort of explosion. So I've made 3 videos on shelter-in-place for various counties and their emergency management associations. So somebody says shelter in place, I know what to do. And you know, I do weddings and training films. You know, when you're working at a television station, you're right where the action is all the time. Something's happening, you drive to it and you see it.
Interesting.
And then you get to tell people stories. And that's another thing about doing video, is telling people stories. Everyone, I don't care who it is, from the poorest person, richest, or whatever ethnicity or whatever, everyone has a story, and everyone's story I think is interesting. There is always a challenge. You know, they're always faced with a challenge, and you don't know, you know, looking over a crowd of people, what those people go home to or what they've had in their past that might be challenging to them. But everybody has an interesting story.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That's what I said, interesting.
Yeah, can we see some of his photography? This photography?
Okay, so I do video also, so we're going to show photos because it's a little easier with time constraints, you know, than watching videos. But you can find my videos on YouTube or my Facebook page. So this is a project that I started a year or 2 ago, where I go to the local animal shelter and I take pictures of the dogs. And I try to do, you know, portrait style, and so you can see the personality of the dog. So you know, it might move someone to adopt him. And he doesn't look like a jail dog. You know, this doesn't look like the sad faces that you see in the commercials.
In the arms of an angel.
That's right. So you get to see, you know, this is what happy dog looks like.
Yes.
And you're not, well, not that one. No, go ahead. You're not adopting out of pity. It's like you want to have this companion.
Yeah. So did you and your wife possibly just clean them up and stuff?
Clean them up?
Yeah, like get them all nice, clean.
No, they come right out of the cages, out into the yard, and then I take photos of them straight out. I mean, if they got a little schmutz on them or a little bit of eye goo, then we take care of some of that stuff. Or I can Photoshop a few stray hairs here and there. But most of these are, I hope, happy adoptions that we can find them homes.
It's amazing what we can do with a camera. All these, I mean, you can see like that, like in this dog, for example.
He just got adopted yesterday.
Wow.
And I hope he has a really good time, because he was a great dog. He's very mellow, and just the depth in his eyes is something else. And it's sad, he's a pit mix, and there's a lot of places that have pit restrictions. But he's a great dog.
Great dog. It's interesting.
And once in a while, something on the movie, and I will just grab a camera and go out and take it. This was a dragonfly that landed on a tree out beside my deck. And so I saw them, and they seemed fairly patient. Like they would sit there for a while. I was like, I'm going to get my camera and shoot one of these guys.
Oh.
So I came up with that. This was, you know, not Photoshop. This is every bit what came out of my camera. So, you know, the green background and stuff, that's not added. And this, I've been using this lens. It's pretty cool. I use an Olympus OM1. Well, no, it's an EM1 digital camera, but it's a mirrorless camera, and with a mirrorless camera you have an option of using different lenses. This is from a closed circuit TV camera lens. It cost me $25, but I think it's not the clearest lens in the world, but it has stunning results. It's very fast. It's a 1.4 f-stop lens, and you can't tell it in this picture, but it kind of makes the background swirly like some of the lenses from the 1800s.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Ooh, that's pretty.
That's another one from the yard. The springtime, you know, the trees are in bloom and stuff, so I go out and try and get a few. The hardest thing about that's the wind blows and moves it, and you can tell this has a very shallow depth of field. So if it moves, then it goes out of focus.
Interesting. Oh, Jill.
Another thing I do is weddings, and so that comes with its own pressures and rewards. You know, trying to make people look their best on that special day. And the challenge is being creative under a time constraint and taking advantage of the possibilities that you're offered. You know, because there's different churches, different lighting conditions. They're not all the best. You know, her wedding was on a very rainy day, so we didn't get any outside shots, but you make do with what you have and try and get the best shot for them possible. And that was the groom.
Yep.
And, you know, you can see it's on a ledge hidden from the rain, so we weren't on the rain, but that's at the church. It's kind of a GQ shot I thought I'd take. And I do portraits, and I've finished a couple things this year with this pair of sisters. I wanted to try a few different techniques with them, and this is what I came up with them, which I thought was very successful. It's always good working with a nice looking model.
Yes.
But I think there's something nice about everyone. They may not think that they are nice looking or that they have, you know, features, and people think, well, I'm not perfect. No, that we can make you look good in some way.
So you bring out their special feature, pretty much.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure how this came up, but I have an interest in motorcycles and kilts.
Kilts.
So I'm part Scottish and stuff.
Oh, wow.
All right, I do like going to events. This was not a paid gig, but I like shooting musicians, you know, the emotion.
Shooting? You like shooting them? It's
pictures.
Oh, pictures. Oh.
So, you know, the emotions that you get out of musicians playing their music and stuff.
Yeah, you caught it.
I think is really cool. Yeah. This was like a 70s rock style band. And this was at the Blues Bash in Pomeroy, Ohio. And just black and white fit it. This is one of my own dogs. She came from the shelter. Wife had to have her. So this was Rosalind at probably 6 months old.
Oh.
So, you know, along with shooting shelter dogs, I do my own dogs too. And this is Ulrich, my Bernese Mountain Dog, which I lost in June.
Oh. So
this is one of my favorite portraits of him. And following is another one where he was sitting on the couch looking out the window. Yeah, we were eating lunch, and it's like, that lighting is just perfect, and I grabbed my camera and got it. You know, a lot of what I found, a lot of pictures that I take present themselves. I don't necessarily create them. I just have an eye and I see it.
Oh.
You know, just like the dragonfly. I didn't, you know, you can't set up a dragonfly shot.
Yeah.
Things happen. Okay, back to weddings. This is another wedding I did this past year. Some different poses. This was a variation on a ring shot.
Cool.
And this is them, you know, with leaving, and they had the sparklers and stuff. So and giving them some instruction. It's very dark. The only lighting is sparklers. So I told them, hold still. You know, maybe come out, kiss, or do something still, because if they just like walk like they would regularly walk, then everything would be blurry. So I told everybody, like, just hold your poses and, you know, pose like several times. And another wedding I did, that was year before last. And same one. And this was at a golf course, so that every venue lends itself to some opportunities. If you got some water around and different things, that's very nice.
Interesting, very interesting. You said, yeah, back to the whole eye. How long does it take for you to develop the eye for your photography or for video? Or just, is it like a yearly thing? Could it be done in like a couple days?
I think you're always developing it.
Always developing it.
It's photography, and any art is a ongoing process. You never stop improving.
Never stop improving.
You know, and there's, you know, say if weddings is your thing, or portraits is your thing, then you may learn how to shoot something else. You know, maybe like dogs. Shooting dogs is a, I know it sounds weird, shooting, but
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Shooting pictures.
Yeah.
Anyway, each one comes with its own challenges. You know, when you take a dog out of the shelter, you have dogs that have been beaten and kicked for their whole life, and so they're crawling around just, you know, on the ground. You hook up a leash and they just fall down. Or you have the ones that have been cooped up in there and are puppies, and they are just bouncing off the walls. So you have to adapt yourself to how to get the best out of them. You know, if they're jumpy little dogs, and it's like, okay, let's go for a little run. So run around the yard a couple times, get their tongue hanging out, you know, and then treats, certain sounds. You know, I make sounds like a dog, or just fart sounds, or I have a squeaky toy. Seems like only about a third of them really like squeak toys. Some of them just really don't care. But squeak, squeak, you know, that'll get them, like, turn their head and their ears go up.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Wow.
So, you know, every dog is a learning experience.
Yeah.
And I think if I can shoot a shelter dog, your dog that sits on your lap all day long is not going to be a problem.
Oh, wow. Talk about learning experiences. How did you come across the University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College?
Well, I've lived here all my life. So I knew it was here, and when I got out of the military, I was working at I'd worked at 2 TV stations, and this job came open, and it was close to home. And so I landed this job, which paid a little bit more than TV stations did. And the hours are better.
Yeah.
You know, when you work in broadcasting, you have to know that broadcasting's 24 hours, 7 days a week. You know, not only are the police and all the emergency workers working on holidays, if you're watching the TV, somebody's actually behind the scenes doing that too. So, you know, New Year's, Christmas, all those days a week, we are doing our thing at the radio and TV stations.
Oh, wow.
And I had children at the time, and this job offered 8 to 5.
8 to 5. Oh, wow.
For the most part.
Good,
There's other things I got to do sometimes, but it had a better schedule and a little bit better pay at the time, so
Interesting.
I got this in 1988.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's like 28 years ago.
Who's doing the math?
Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Exactly.
And I've been sitting in that office longer than most of y'all been on the earth.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's been fun, and you know, dealing with students and stuff every year is different. And meet new people, and I'm also the fraternity advisor for Tau Kappa Epsilon, TEAC.
Yes, Eek.
So
Yep.
that's another thing I get to do.
Cool. Wow, you're all over the place. With your technology that you have in your studio right now, would you say it was a lot easier to have now than it was back then when you were first getting started?
It's a lot more affordable. Doing the same thing back in the 80s would be a lot more expensive. And the quality is better. You know, that old U-matic system that I was using was standard definition, 480 lines. And now we're working 1080.
1080.
Or better.
Or better.
Could be 4K. But at the time we had tape. When I started my business in '94, I was using high 8. And before that, some people were using SVHS or beta. But to me, when we went digital, it was kind of, it freed me from the problems of mechanics. You know, when you have a tape recorder and you're trying to record video, the slightest piece of dirt will ruin a tape. But say like when I was shooting a wedding, you're sometimes in the balcony of the church, and it's very hot and humid, and sometimes I'll gum up the tapes. So I don't have to worry about all those mechanical faults and dirty heads and things going wrong. I can, well, I did have one of my cameras go bad on a KISS tribute band shoot. I was right in front of the speakers, and for whatever reason, the internal card that it was recording on just, went bad. It stopped recording, and it wouldn't play back. And back up your recordings and get them off the camera as soon as possible.
Oh, wow.
Get them on your computer. The thing that gave me a heart attack that time was I had a wedding on there that I hadn't gotten onto my computer yet.
Oh, snap.
So that weekend before I had done the wedding and sat on, it's like, well, I got enough space on the camera to do this concert, so I'll just do that too. And I saved that. That was salvageable, but the whole concert thing was a no-go. It just was lost.
Oof.
And there was nothing I could do about it. I had to send it back to the manufacturer.
Oh, wow. Dang.
So they had to replace some parts in the camera. So I don't know if the vibrations shook stuff loose inside of the camera or what. But
It was a video camera? Okay. Was this on DVDs or was it VHS?
no, it's recording on solid-state chips.
Okay.
So like your USB.
Oh, so modern day type stuff.
Right.
Equipment. Okay, cool,
yeah,
cool,
this
cool.
is my current camera.
Oh, wow. So how much it cost again?
Several $1,000s.
Several $1,000s. Did you use tuition money, or did you use
I mean tuition money.
Or
Not in school.
did you use
I don't need the experience. I've been doing that for 30 more years.
Yes, it's a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you ever shoot an actual live action movie, or maybe even an indie film? If someone were to hire you?
Sure. I mean, I don't want to come up with scripts myself, but if somebody wants me to shoot something, fine. I'll shoot whatever you want.
Oh, so would you have any ideas for clever angles or clever
Sure.
lighting? Oh, really? Well, I mean,
That's all photography is painting subjects with light.
Ah.
Using the light And you know, you don't want to substitute skill with Photoshop skills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't Photoshop very much. I mean, I play with the colors a little bit and a few things, but a lot of people use that as a crutch.
Ah.
And I shoot it right the first time.
Shoot it right the first
so you
time.
don't need it.
No errors. So how much do you use Photoshop? Do you use like a little bit or just?
I run everything through it.
Uh-huh.
You know, just there's always stuff, you know, if there's blemishes or there's always things that can be improved on. You know, the colors, making a few things bounce more, a little bit of, and all this stuff is very subtle. You know, I'm not like giving people big muscles and doing crazy stuff. I just want to make you look the best that you can.
Yeah, you would take like pimples, whiten teeth, maybe whiten the eyeballs a little bit.
Yeah, the redness in your eyes or whatever after a hard night, I can take that out.
Interesting, very interesting. All right, what would you say the best video camera and picture camera would be on the? What's the best one on the market right now?
Kind of depends on what you're comfortable with and what you can afford. Get the best you can afford. Full frame cameras are nice. I'm kind of a fan of the Micro Four Thirds because of the mirrorless part of it. It lends to a little bit of creativity. Not shooting down Canon or Nikon, they're great cameras. That's fine. And you know, I would buy a body first and no kit lenses. Just buy the body, and then as you know, the first lens you should buy is the fastest all-purpose zoom you can get, and then build out. You know, get a nice telephoto type lens, a nice portrait lens, and a nice wide-angle lens, and make them as fast as possible, which means a low f-stop, and of course bigger dollars.
I
So
see.
you know, you're talking somewhere between $800 to $1,800 per lens.
Oh, cool, real cool. Wow, that's
So you
awesome.
can get a lot wrapped up into it. And I still use video cameras instead of DSLRs for video because of sound. Sound's better,
sound
so
quality.
people forget about sound. Everybody's worried about the picture, but sound is real important. That's where the story is. At least with
Interesting.
video.
Interesting. Okay, last question. Would you quit your job for $1 million?
Sure.
Oh,
I'd
really?
find something else to do. I wouldn't just sit around and go, yeah, I'm rich. Which you're not rich at $1 million, but
Okay, well, Mike.
that would give me more freedom.
Oh, yes. All right, Mr. Mike Thompson, it was a pleasure and honor. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
Keep it real, y'all. I'm Tim.
Stay classy.